Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Overwatch 2 Developer Deep Dive August edition. Today, I am here with some pretty cool folks to talk about some pretty cool things. Firstly, I am Anna. Sorry, I think I tapped the mic. I'm Anna, and with me, I got Alec and Scott.
Hello.
Hey everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Great, yeah,
We're
excited
good.
to talk about some stuff today.
Some stuff, yeah.
Some exciting stuff.
So it's become a bit of a tradition, I suppose, on the couple of streams that we've done already to start off with a pretty simple and casual question that I hope doesn't take you guys by surprise, but I know it will.
It probably will, yeah.
Are you ready?
I don't know if we practiced
I
this
don't know.
part.
This was not practiced.
Don't worry, it's not very hard. So on the last stream that you were here, Alec, you talked about the games that you have been playing recently.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious, what do you guys get up to when you're not playing or working on games?
Oh God, I love watching TV actually. So recently Scott got me into a show, The Devil's Plan. So it's like a game show, Korean game shows. I'm watching that. I'm almost done. Don't spoil it, please.
No spoilers.
I'll spoil it later.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
What do you get up to, Scott?
I've been getting really into music lately. I've been doing a little bit of traveling, going to some music festivals, really enjoying live music. So that's what I've been doing in my spare time, and playing a lot of video games. So.
Nice,
As usual, yeah.
Of course. Obviously, I think at one point you just can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Well, let's start talking about what we're going to be talking about. So today we have two main big topics to discuss. We are going to be talking about our newest support hero coming to Season 18, Wuyang. Hero 44, very cool guy, who actually, his hero trial starts in about 49 minutes. So be sure to check him out when he's out. And our second theme, actually, of today are perks. All new perks, reworks, and new stuff coming to Season 18 that we'll be discussing. Some of them, not all, because there's a lot to cover. But, hopefully we can get through some really interesting stuff during the stream today.
Yeah, we're going to be doing like a little polling to see, between two heroes, which one you want to see.
Yeah.
So that's how we're going to be revealing some of the perks later on.
So choose wisely.
Choose
The
wisely.
votes matter.
Scott will kind of like try to tell you which one to pick.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint.
Well, we'll try to rig the votes, but choose with your heart. Choose with your heart and decide, it's up to you. But yeah, I think we can just dive straight into the first topic. So for Wuyang, he's one of our newest heroes in the roster. And we have seen, these past couple of days, people curious about how we are going to be, working on and developing the oddballs of our roster. Do you want to,
Yeah, there was one thing we wanted to touch on before we get into Wuyang and everything about his kit. So the Overwatch roster is comprised of soldiers, scientists, adventurers, and oddities. Heroes like Winston and Bastion are really important to our universe. They are what makes Overwatch Overwatch. They're the special sauce that makes our universe unique. And when looking at the heroes currently in development, there is an oddity. We're not going to be talking about that today, but stay tuned in the coming months, and I can't wait to talk about some of those heroes coming up.
Yeah, we love our little weirdos, our little cuties as much as everybody else. We are very, very invested in all the characters coming up. And as time goes on, we are very excited to talk about everything that is coming in the future seasons.
Yeah, but let's talk about Wuyang today.
Today
we're
we're
very
talking
close
about Wuyang.
to his hero trial. And we're going to be going through the kit, and then we're going to actually, after we go through the kit sort of explainer, talk about like how some of the abilities work, some of the tips and tricks. We're also going to get into some of the prototype footage of like how we developed this hero and some abilities that were left on the cutting floor, right? So there's some like behind the scenes stuff I think is really exciting for y'all to see.
Yeah, it's very exciting, honestly, this today with Wuyang, because this is usually not something we show very often, but his kit is so interesting and unique, something very different from everything that we've shown before. Seeing him evolve from the very beginning to what he is now is just very cool. So I think we can just jump straight in and see what he's got in game.
Yeah, so we're going to be stepping through, each of the abilities, but here's the snapshot of all of his abilities, even in his perks at the bottom there. But what we were going for when developing Wuyang was really a more damage-oriented support. That was at least where we started, and you'll kind of see that through some of the development stories that are going to be occurring today. And where we ended up was slightly damage-focused support in the sense of like where you're spending a lot of your time. Supports still have means to heal their allies and means to keep them up or give them special utility, things of that nature. But Wuyang in particular, what he centers around is going to be his primary fire. That's going to be the thing that you're going to be spending the most time doing and also the most time mastering. You know, I think we showed the gameplay trailer yesterday, and there's some theories about how this thing actually works. So I kind of want to dive in and just, you know, show you exactly how this primary fire works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the kit overall with like Wuyang in general is like the primary fire is that crux of it, and the rest of the abilities really support his ability on the battlefield to do other things, right? Like I would say the primary fire is where you're going to be spending most of your time, most of your energy, but you know you're reacting with with the wave, pushing enemies away, helping allies. The passive healing of the restorative stream. That's kind of like Zenyatta, but you have a different thing, which is just putting more healing in if you're going to hold it down on allies. So I think that's really where you're going to start to see like, oh, okay, I'm using my primary fire, but when I need it, I have all these other tools in my arsenal.
Absolutely. I'm very curious to see how players, start playing him. He has a lot of really interesting and very unique abilities that I think especially his primary fire is a huge highlight, at least for me.
Yeah, let's get going. Let's bring it up.
Yeah.
Let's see how it kind of like develops here. So there's two versions of his primary fire. There's one you're going to be doing most of the time, but let's start with the tap fire here. So he does have this tap fire option. You can just tap fire. This is like sort of, hey, someone's really close to you. You can kind of, it's actually deals out pretty good DPS, but it's a little hard to hit and not like super fast and everything. But the main thing you're going to be spending most of the time doing on Wuyang is this primary fire where you actually control it. So you hold down primary fire, and then you can move that orb as long as you're holding down the button and moving your mouse, right? So you can actually control that kind of as soon as it comes out. You'll see there's a little state here where it becomes empowered. It kind of glows up and actually deals more damage at that point in time. And some of the plays you can do here, like I think K right here, you can actually like, you can like be hiding behind a wall, curve it. I think one of the spots I love to do this on is like Wuyang, where there's the bridge. You can like just kind of actually sit almost 90 degrees, curve the orb around and just kind of fire down that bridge as people are trying to, enter through the choke. But you can do some like really wide swings with it. You can even hit some aerial targets. But you can kind of see it's like, oh yeah, it's actually something that takes a lot of time though and precision to practice and get down.
But once you do get it down, like that's where the fun of it really starts to exist, because like, you're able to hide behind these walls, you're able to curve it, you're able to chase running away enemies, right? Like sometimes, leading can be difficult. You're actually able to change it mid-flight as the enemies move as well, which makes it really fun. The thing that I find really interesting as well is that like, you can also hold it down, but if you let go towards the end, it'll just keep moving the direction that it was, and you can fire another one. So you can really start like throwing lots of these water orbs towards enemies, and that's where the chunk of your damage is. You can see once it's empowered, it's doing a big chunk of damage. It does a little bit of AoE damage as well, so there's a lot to be done and a lot of damage to be done when you have that precision with this hero.
Yeah, totally. So how, it's a pretty different thing being able to control a projectile while you're also moving, independently from the projectile. Was it like challenging to find a good balance of your character is moving and the projectile is moving on its own?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of things we had to work through in terms of depth perception and understanding like where the orb was at certain times. There's different iterations that we'll get into a bit later. But one of the main things of an ability like this that's important for us is that you understand where it's going, but also enemies have a really good expectation of where it's coming, its travel trajectory and everything like that, right? So how fast you can actually turn it, the speed that the projectile is actually traveling at, those are all really important knobs for us to get into the right place where it feels fair. Because this thing can kind of, it can come over the Reinhardt barrier and then like kind of come down. Like you thinking you might be safe, and it's like whoop, whoop, and then kind of hits you. So there's a lot of little things we had to do in terms of the sound and feeling like, okay, I know this thing is coming in as this like explosive water orb.
Yeah, and it really is just like the crux of the ability of like how you're doing everything here, right? Like you're going to be positioning everywhere that you stand is going to be based on your primary fire. You want to be in this like nice little mid-range because it is difficult to track targets at extreme lengths, but also very close to you as well because you have control, but there is that turning distance as well. So it's about like, this is how you're going to move around the battlefield. This is how you're going to play and put yourself in the best position to make it as easy as possible to hit enemies.
So you would say that Wuyang is more of a mid to long-ish range support?
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I've seen so many different playstyles in our playtests and stuff like that as well. You can get really close with him as well. When you start to see some of the other abilities, especially the ultimate, you have a lot of tools at your disposal to be able to sort of move around the battlefield quickly if you need to. But where you're going to be spending your most time is in the mid-range.
For sure.
Yeah, and as you were saying earlier, the rest of the kit really supports being in this state a lot. So we can start actually with going into restorative stream here. This is going to be a secondary fire, and the main source of his healing. So when you just click it, it's actually going to add a passive rain onto an ally, right? So this is going to be pretty white HPS, especially I think it's like 35 healing per second.
A little bit less, actually. Yeah.
So it's a little bit less than Zenyatta, actually. But the thing that you can do here with this, so it's like, okay, a lot of my healing is going to be there, but you can actually empower it by holding down right click and only spending a resource. So, you know, this sort of this like hybrid style of healing where, yes, I can put this passive thing on to an ally. I don't have to worry too much. I can actually just focus on using my primary fire. But then when they do get in trouble, I can use my resource to try to fill them back up.
Yeah, and this resource does a lot of healing, and it drains pretty quickly, and it returns up quite slowly. So it's not something that you should be using, you know, all the time. You know, when you compare it to like a Lari, that charges very quickly back up. This is something that you need to be careful with your resource, right? You are limited in the amount of, you know, healing that you can do. So it's about putting your restorative stream on the right target, and then when they get low, when they get in danger, that's when you can start pumping the resource out.
Katie, can we actually bring up the F1 screen, so the hero info panel? We can actually just make sure we get the numbers correct here, but you can like actually hover over restorative stream, and it will actually show us. Thank you, Gavin Winter.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's 25 per second.
25.
On
Shout
the,
out
on
Gavin
the healing.
Winter.
But then the bonus healing is going to be 50 per second. So you are going to be able to like actually get some good throughput there on your healing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of Zenyatta too as like a sort of comparison on how his ability restorative stream works. Can you only put that one ally at a time?
Yes. So you have to make your choice on who is going to be that one target can. And if you also want to push your healing into someone when you're holding it down, that will move your restorative stream as well. So you do have to make a choice. You are limited in the number of allies that you can heal at a time, unless you're going to move on to the Guardian Wave.
Yeah, and that empowerment, it's not that that's like a beam that's attaching to a character that doesn't have, you know, the passive rain. It is empowering the rain itself.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. I see. So you can empower it, leave it alone, and it'll last for a little while.
Yeah.
They get, you know.
until they lose line of sight, it's like over like 5 seconds
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
So there's like an LOS check there, similar to Zen in that way.
Gotcha.
You know?
Well, how about his next abilities?
Yeah, so while there might be a little white on the passive healing there is one big healing moment. This is going to be Guardian Wave. So this is going to be your E here. We'll start with the healing aspect of it. So you press E, and this big Wuyang takes the staff, slams into the ground, and this big wave comes out. So it provides healing, but then also the big thing it does, it gives a healing boost, you know? So it actually lasts for 4 seconds. It's going to be quite a big thing you can do there with your allies. Because you can kind of combine that. You use the Guardian Wave, then you use your resource, and at that point you're really getting like your tank that's in danger actually back up to a good, healthy, health pool level.
Yeah, that's really like your, oh no, we're in danger moment of like, my tank's getting really low, my allies need a lot of healing. You're looking to drop that within your allies, give them that healing amp, sort of amplify the rest of the healing that you're going to do. And I think that's really like embodies a lot of what is the rest of his abilities do, very reactive of like, hey, I'm using my primary fire, but this is the thing that I'm going to use when I want to heal my allies a lot. But this also does other things as well. You know, when you use it against an enemy, it's actually going to do damage and knock them back based on the distance they are from you. So the wave is more powerful the closer they are to you, and then it will knock them back more depending on that as well. So this ability can heal allies, but it can also be your defensive tool to push people away, to do a little bit of damage, sort of give you that get off me button.
And there's also one thing that's, well, similar to Ana, a little bit different. When Wuyang uses Guardian Wave, it actually gives him the heal boost. He doesn't have to like look down to do it. It just heals him and gives him that heal boost right at his feet, because that's what, he's slamming down right at his feet, right?
So that's the please heal me other support button as well, because that's the only healing tool he has for himself, right? So it's going to give him that healing amp. It does, I think, 75 healing. Don't test my knowledge on that, but it's
we can look at that.
Yeah, we can look at it on the F1 screen.
Thanks
I think
to
it
Gavin
does
Winter,
75
we can check it out,
healing, which is a good chunk of healing, but it's sometimes not going to save you from the danger that you're getting. So it's a great hero to work with.
We buffed it. It's 80.
It's 80 now.
It's 80. A little free out of for out of jail card.
I'm going to lose the trivia.
Yeah. So that would be one of the ways that you could get out of danger if you are, really deep in enemy lines. What about the shift, rushing torrent?
Yeah. So Wuyang isn't necessarily like a super mobile hero, but I would say he is fairly well rounded, and he does have a mobility skill here. This is rushing torrent. You're going to press shift, and you're going to be on this wave, so it gives you movement speed and also increases your jump height by a little bit. One of the things we were looking for when developing this hero was, hey, what are the the things thematically that have to come across. And I think Guardian Wave was one of those first things, like, all right, there needs to be a giant wave that gets sent out to your team that helps them. And then also, well, you kind of need to surf on a wave too, right? So rushing torrent is this thing that's going to help you reposition, get you in different places on the battlefield, and also help you escape from enemies. You know, it's on a longer cooldown than, say, some of our more mobile heroes. You know, you can see there it's like a 7-second cooldown. So it's going to help you, but it's not going to be, you're not going to be as flighty as Juno or Lucio or something like that, right?
Yeah, especially because it's only giving you movement speed. Like, you have the ability to push enemies away, you can run away, but after those cooldowns are used, you don't really have a lot of options in your arsenal. So that's why, another reason why Wuyang is playing in that mid-range. You can't be too close to enemies because they'll just run you down. So that is one of the weaknesses that Wuyang does have, pumping out a lot of damage, a lot of healing. But if you get in his face, it's going to be very difficult to play. So rushing torrent is very useful as a tool, but it's not going to be as potent as some of the things like Kiriko teleport as well.
Yeah, so when designing these kinds of heroes that have movement but not too much, but they're also not completely immobile, like Ana or Zenyatta, which we've, you compared some of his abilities to, how do you get to that like sweet spot of having him be pretty strong mid-range, also like being able to get out of danger, but also not be completely uncatchable?
I think that's like, it's a never-ending, balance cycle of like, what does every hero need, right? When you talk about Ana and Zenyatta, they have very high utility things in their kit. We have Ana Sleep Dart, we have the Biotic Grenade, Zenyatta has Discord Orb, which is just a very strong damage ability in the game. So that is their strength, so they need to have the limitation of, they don't have that mobility, there is that weakness. Wuyang doesn't really have a huge amount of utility in his kit that's going to always change the tide of battle with, CC or, putting in this anti-heal. He's going to more be a Swiss Army knife of, he has a lot of tools to help things and do a lot of things, but he's not going to have this win more, button that's just going to sort of have this big impact on the battlefield at all times. It's more about the consistent damage and throughput that he's going to do.
Yeah, your proficiency with the primary fire is really going to be the differentiator in terms of like how effective Wuyang is. And then some of the things like Guardian Wave and using that at the right time. But I would say like learning that primary fire skill is going to be a thing that like sets apart Wuyang players.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last technically part of his kit is his ult. What can you tell us about it? Yeah,
Tidal Blast is a fun one. So when we're developing support ults, we want to make sure that there's always, you're hopefully doing something for your team in some way. So, but this one's a little different because Wuyang can also do something for himself. So you press Q, and you're actually going to get 2 prompts here. You're going to be able to use this ability on an ally, or use it on yourself. We'll start with the ally one. So if we like turn around, we'll use it on one of the bots behind you, or one of these guys. And what it's going to do, you place on an ally, they're going to get a big chunk of overhealth. They're going to get movement speed, and then this little bubble comes around them, right? And so what that does, it's actually like this water bomb. After a few seconds, it's actually going to detonate and explode, deal damage, and knock down any enemies that are nearby you. So what you really want to do is you want to throw this on like your Genji who's about to go in, or someone who's going to dive in, like a Tracer with this is really scary.
Or Reinhardt is charging in.
Reinhardt could also charge right in.
2v5.
And at the end of it too, there's a big health gain for the ally that has it. So there's a big healing at the end of it when the explosion happens. So yeah, if your tank's in trouble, they can use this, and they're going to not even get the overhealth, but also get the healing at the end. That's going to really help them. I just think it's like a great setup ult, like similar to Nano Boost in the same vein, where it's like, oh, I can really use this on my allies, make some plays, and feel really, collaborative.
Yeah, I think Nano Boost is a great place to sort of like, if you're trying to understand what this ultimate is trying to do, it can be that proactive thing where, it has that CC component that, at the end, which is different. But it can also be used very well reactively. It's like my tank's getting low, or they're diving my support. You can put that on your ally. It's going to give them that overhealth. It's going to give them that healing, and anyone who gets in their face is going to get knocked down as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do to react. As you just saw on the screen here, you can also use it on yourself. There is a slight difference when using it on yourself. There is a cast time. Yep. So you need to be careful. You can't just 100% give yourself full overhealth and all these things. You need to use it at the right time, because you can Ajax or you can lose the ultimate if you use it at the wrong time. But as you can imagine, people probably use it on themselves more than they really should. I am one of those people, because it gives you that opportunity to protect yourself, play aggressive, run people down, and sort of put the whole ultimate in your own hands.
This is personally how I use it all the time. If I see like Kyle in the back line, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to use this. I'm going to use Rushing Torrent. We're going to get in there as fast as we can, try to get the 1 kill, right? Yeah. But it's also one of those things like if you're in a 1v1 and you're kind of like really in trouble, but they can't DPS you down fast enough, you can use this, bring it back, and really like turn the tide.
Yeah.
Right?
So super quick before continuing talking about the ult, we have a question in chat. Is the surf only for forward movement, or can you go backwards?
You can go backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go all directions. Don't think of it as it's not pushing you forward at all times. It's more you have movement speed to go in whichever direction.
You can also just stay still. You can,
Yeah.
You
use the
can just
ability to
hang
stay-
out on the little wave if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want.
just kind of
Yes.
hang out. It looks very cool in third person.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
it's
think
sick.
one of my favorite things of Wuyang is just his animation, honestly.
Yeah.
Shout out the animation team.
Yeah,
So
some of our
going back to the ult, so you cast it on either yourself or on an ally, and they gain overhealth. Could an enemy team, drain the overhealth before the ult goes off?
Oh yeah, they can just kill you, and then the ult dies. It fizzles at that point. But it's not this barrier you're trying to break. You actually just have to kill that
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah, they're CCable. You can do everything
You
to
can CC
them,
them.
and they don't have, it's not like a traditional Zarya bubble or anything like that. It is just the player has a ton of overhealth, and this effect is going to happen at the end.
Gotcha. Also, by the way, 30 minutes into trial.
Oh,
yeah.
a countdown.
So-
we have going on.
We
This
got a
could be
lot of
you.
countdown going on. Yeah. This could be you.
I
in
am
30
looking
minutes.
out for those plays today. I'm really excited to see it's one of those things where we've been developing the primary fire for so long, and it's gonna be exciting to see how players actually how long does it take them to acclimate. It's always quicker than we expect because you all are so good at the game. But it'd be interesting to see just how long it takes to make some of those plays where you're hitting the far in the air and things like that.
Yeah. That is where some of the most fun is, where you're just aiming this person down, you hit that long range shot, the one person who's 1 HP, the person in the air. There's so many different things that you have to do with this primary fire, and it's just so dynamic throughout the entire match.
Like in
And
the
that's-
trailer.
Yeah, like in the trailer, right?
No, you can do that a lot.
It's hard, but
It
you can
happens.
do that.
Yeah. But going to the opposite side of that, one of the things about Wuyang that makes him difficult is if you aren't hitting those shots, that's where most of your damage is coming through. So there is this huge skill factor that comes with Wuyang that if you're trying to hit these shots and you're not pumping out damage, you're not doing a ton of healing. So it's like this is where the skill, and that's what's going to separate the great Wuyangs from the ones who are just running around ulting themselves.
So we got another question about the ult. Does the ultimate go through shields, and does the end of the ult heal nearby allies?
It's just the user.
Yeah, I think it's just the user. I know we've gone back and forth on this a bunch of times. We'll find out if it goes through shields at this point. I would believe it
does
doesn't.
not.
No. Barriers generally are, blocking of all those kind of aspects in the game.
Cool. So, we'll be seeing how matchups with enemy or ally Wuyang go along. But as what you guys have seen so far, what would you say are good matchups for this hero specifically, like supports or tanks or whatever that work with Wuyang well?
I think since where you kind of want to position yourself, you're going to be playing with your other support a lot, so they can kind of keep each other up. You're not necessarily going to be diving that much, or you can even play with Ana, and then you can actually actually cycle some of your healing amp, which can be really powerful if you do it correctly. So I think some of those supports, like Ana plays pretty well with Wuyang, maybe even Bath sometimes.
Yeah, I think Wuyang does a great job at protecting another support. So in those kind of situations, you could play it as a pseudo brig kind of setup where it's you're able to protect someone, but you can do more damage from range.
With Zenyatta.
With Zenyatta, you in situations where you can help your allies, but you can also do things from the mid range. As we said, I don't think you're going to play Wuyang too much in dive. I think it's going to be the game's going to move too fast for him. It's going to be difficult for him to keep up. So in those situations where you can play those Baptiste, Zenyatta's, Anas, I expect him to be there as well.
Yeah. We got another quick question about the primary fire, which I think it's a very big highlight of his whole kit. Can you whip primary fire around corners? LOL.
Yeah, of course.
That's the whole point. This is how you're going to spend your first 3 games. You're just sort of throwing it around corners.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
just
much.
the way it is.
How far can it go? Can you just go infinitely until
There's a eventual that'll eventually kick out after a certain time, but it's pretty far. It's far enough.
It'll keep going once it gets.
But
to that
you'll
point.
lose control.
But you'll lose control, and it's probably for the best. You should probably start shooting it.
Yeah. If it gets far enough, you should just let it go and whip up another one if you missed.
100%.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's Leon's kit. I think he's kind of a great example of an Overwatch 2 support is, where they have a lot of options. They're fairly dynamic. You have to go on the offense, go on the defense a lot, and kind of switch up between that and understand what sort of role you're playing at that moment in time. Are you someone that needs to just continue to pressure? Or are you someone that at that moment in time needs to kind of help your team? So.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this hero. I'm a support player myself. This hero does so much. There's so many opportunities to make big plays. So I'm really excited for everyone else to also get their hands.
Yeah, I mean, getting to this point was a long journey, and I think we would love to talk about a little about his prototype and how it was from the very beginning.
Yeah, so when we started on this hero, I mean, sometime last year, I think it was in the spring of last year, even before you were on the team.
Yeah, this was before me.
Yeah, so there's just a long development cycle, and we want to sort of step through each ability and sort of take you through some of the journey that we had there. Let's start with the primary fire here. One of the things that I think our first, even before this edition that we're seeing here, one of our very first editions we did, iterations, was you could fire the primary fire and it would go to wherever your cursor is. So it could go past the Reinhardt, come back, and then hit him in the back.
Yeah.
If Pharah was in the air, it would just keep tracking her until it got to her, right? And on the enemy side, that was really hard to understand where the same would go by you, then would circle back and hit you in the back of the head, right? It was much more understandable if it's like it has more of a continuous motion, right? And then we tried some more stuff. So you can see this one we're looking right now. I can also see like we used the Moira, with a staff and everything. Yeah, very, very tough things we had here. But you were sort of like controlling these orbs, and then you would release it, and it would travel wherever you're pointing, and it would go a little bit fast. It was just a little hard to actually track enemies this way. It was also hard on the enemy side to understand sometimes where it was coming, and this took a lot of time to get right. So this one in particular was just hard to understand and hard to actually hit with, hard to execute with. It was one of those things where we really want to make sure, as I said earlier, like the enemies kind of understand what's happening here. So we backed away from this one, and we went with something that was a bit more continuous than what you see today, where it's more this continuous motion, this continuous flow, and you actually have a lot more like skill in that too, I would say. So, but there's some fun iterations along the way to get this one right. I think there was, it wasn't only 3, there was plenty. We did quite a lot, and we wanted to do a lot more of the orb too at early on. So I think there's another ability we have in here that we were. Oh, this is a restorative stream actually. Yeah. So with restorative stream, some of the things we knew early on was we wanted you to make sure that you were, whatever healing we gave Wuyang, it was something that he didn't have to do all the time. We tried some things that didn't necessarily work out. This is one version we had here where you would actually charge up the ring and then place the ring on somebody. And what that ended up doing was there was a lot of plate spinning, so you thought you were actually like using the healing too much, and you're too much in this mode, and we wanted you to be in the primary fire mode most of the time. We even tried an iteration of this that was more like it would only use the healing when the character needed it, but you still felt you always had to top them off. And it was like one of those things, even like when you're running from spawn in the beginning, you had to like charge up this thing even though you're not even in combat yet, and it felt a little odd. But this is like sort of what we were playing with. We were playing with different models of, okay, what can we do for a healing where he doesn't have to actually focus on it the whole time? There's one, actually, it became a perk. We tried another thing where you could damage enemies and would just heal whoever had your like passive aura. We even tried this on Alari at one point too. But that ends up, it's really hard to understand that you are healing somebody. It's hard to make that connection and making you feel like a support.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing is like sometimes a lot of these abilities, as much as they can be like feel really cool, they can just feel really invisible, and when you're playing in the game, you just don't feel like you're having that impact, and if you're the person being healed, you don't know where that healing's coming from as well, so trying to make it a little bit more deliberate.
Yeah, there was a theme throughout Wuyang's development was it started very, very damage oriented, and then it's like, okay, crawl back to support, how can we make you still feel like you have like a lot of potency in your damage, but make you feel like you're playing a support.
Yeah, I think at one point during early development, his staff had like extra reach with melee and had extra damage, and you could get crazy DPS with Wuyang, like very little healing from some players. I'm not gonna name names, but very little healing from some players early on, but a lot of DPS, maybe sometimes even more than the actual DPS.
Yeah.
So it's great to see kind of like the balance that you can achieve with someone that can still hold its own, and who's part of the highlights of his kit is the primary fire, but also can dish out a lot of healing.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I remember we had an early play test, and we had Dante come in, and he played it, and he played backline Wuyang. He was running around in the backline, he was just eliminating people one by one, he was kind of playing like DPS Moira, so there have been iterations where Wuyang was a lot more potent in that kind of play style.
And I wonder what the next video is here, but yeah, there's just a lot of iteration. Okay, here you see, there's like Guardian Wave and Rushing Torrent. We're actually like really early abilities. You'll see an early version of the Wave right right there. It's like, okay, we knew we had to get this in the kit immediately. There's a little thing that's different there that we were playing with, though, on the E. Well, you'll see it when you hit the tracer. There's this effect, actually, that happened on the wave at one point where it would take down max health from enemies. We wanted to do something that was very offensive, but also defensive. But it was very hard to get the concept of evil water across. It was like, what does the water look like?
Yeah, what poison water.
Is it charged with something? Yeah. And that's actually, there's this one sort of effect that we've been trying to sort of find its correct place in the game. So it might be something we explore later. But yeah, evil Guardian Wave at one point would hit enemies and take away their max health for a little time.
Yeah. I think for the best that one's not in there. But like you can also see like some of the other abilities coming here. Like this is the early iterations of the rushing torrent. Yeah. As you can see, like obviously big effects coming on your screen. This is giving you the mobility. So this one's been in development for a while. These two, they look somewhat similar to what they are now.
Yeah, you could jump a lot higher. It was more of like a Sojourn jump height at one point. But at that point it was like, are we really making it feel like you're riding this wave, or is it more of like you're getting this geyser of water that comes up underneath you and puts you up into the air? But the thing we wanted to sell was that you're surfing. Yep. Right? And so we really went with that in particular. And I think the mobility was a little bit too much at some point with that giant jump.
Yeah. We've got a quick question in chat. Can enemies shoot the water balls out of the sky before it hits
No, they can't.
Intangible
aim
water.
trainer as you're just shooting out the balls.
Also, Scott, there's some people in chat that say, I love you, so.
Oh, thank you.
And Mr. Apply, allegedly.
Apply, my favorite.
Yeah, I think we can continue, checking out the early prototypes of other abilities if we have some more.
Yeah, so this one's one of my favorites. We call this ability the shower. So as we were talking earlier, we wanted to do some more things with the orb at a certain point in development. So you'd put out the orb, and then you'd actually press right click, and it would rise up and do this AoE healing and damage field. Like water was coming down, it was healing and damage. Because we were still exploring this like this evil water kind of concept.
Water was really, taking hits.
Yeah, it was like there's a lot more elemental themes that were going in there too. At one point it wasn't just purely water, so we were exploring some different themes there. But I loved this ability because it really allowed him to have like this presence in the battlefield, and it allowed him to like really make his claim of like, creating space as a support, which is a little bit different than what some of our supports do. But it was very difficult to understand the depth perception on this in particular. Like you press right click and you would have to know exactly where it's going to come up, and so we had to make the area super large. And at that point, it became a very noisy ability too, and it leaned a lot more into DPS than it did healing.
I was gonna say I don't see that cloud over a lot of allies right now. I see it over a lot of enemies.
It's Aaron Keller running through the small corridor, getting hit by it.
If you see an opportunity, you just take it.
It is a cool thing. I like the idea of how it you could change the way you use primary fire. Instead of just throwing it at enemies, now you can use it, to put it in a position to drop something else, right?
I would not be surprised if this one comes back as a perk in the future or something along those lines, because it is something that we would like to explore more. But maybe down the road when people get used to Wuyang and kind of understand him as a hero overall. So you can see there's a bit more healing in that one. That was
that was nice defensive rain.
Yes.
So even from prototype, we can see a lot of stuff that did make it into the final cut. During development, how do you decide what to keep and what not to keep?
It's really about like who the hero is, what is the play style overall, and how did every single piece of their kit support that play style, right? I think one thing in particular with Wuyang is we needed to make sure he still trended towards support, right? We need to make sure that, yes, you're going to be playing this primary fire all the time, and what are the things that are going to support that like aspect and that loop, but also like, this isn't a DPS, so how do you have the elements where you feel like you're really helping your team, getting them back up, and making sure that they feel your effect too? They feel that you're actually helping them.
Yeah, and I think that's really where Wuyang gets in these setups, like very similar to the way Zenyatta plays. The way I see Zenyatta play is like, hey, you're putting your orbs out, you're trying to control the battlefield, help your allies, but then outside of that, you're positioning, you're doing damage. So I think that's where Wuyang is really finding the spot. This is a crazy one. I remember you telling me about it.
So this is one of the ultimate iterations. As I said, we were playing it for more of an elemental broad theme, so it was like, maybe there's lightning in this kit too, right? So one of the things we were doing here, you put these little clouds over all your allies, it would heal them, but then whenever you primary fired, it would shoot lightning from these clouds to a target. And so you can imagine if everyone's kind of stacked up, there's just 5 lightning bolts that are coming, and you can shoot this really fast too.
Yeah.
Look at the damage there. it was like 50 from each
Traces
or
are in
something.
trouble everywhere.
or something like that. Very fun.
Yeah.
Very, very fun ultimate. So don't be surprised that down the road if there's something like this, but maybe not on support.
Yeah,
you know?
not as a support. You guys put healing on the clouds as like, see, it's kind of supporting as you delete the opposition.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very cool though. It was very cool, like ability. But in practice, it was crazy. Especially one on each team, right? A lot of times we're kind of like, we're playing a Wuyang on each team just so everyone's getting a feel of the character. And you're just like, whoa, lightning time!
Yeah.
It all kind of like come out.
Suddenly, huge explosion.
Yeah.
Were there any other iterations of the ult?
There were a few. We went on this one like fairly in a good place in development, but there was one we were really interested in. But it's very difficult to do, and something might come later on. But there was sort of this mirage wall at one point where you sort of put this wall of water, was the idea, and allies were invisible behind it. Like enemies couldn't see past it, but you could see through it and actually see the enemies. So it's sort of like, because every time we approach ults, we want to make sure we at least explore and iterate through ultimates that don't just kill people or don't just, keep everyone alive. I think it's really important to have ultimates that make you think differently about the game. Sometimes ultimates will end up in that place, right? And that was one was like, oh, this is something that's going to be very unique. But I think what Wuyang, where he ended up and what actually benefits his kit is something that was more like a setup rather than this sort of like passive thing that allies might benefit from.
By the way, hero trial, 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Soon,
15
TM.
minutes.
Yeah.
Soon TM.
No, I think overall though, Wuyang's journey to becoming a hero in Overwatch was one I thought the team did just an exceptional job on. There's a lot of like new tech that went into the water shader and getting all of that right. As you said earlier, the sounds, the animations, that all kind of comes together and it creates a really compelling experience. And I think his kit is one of the most unique ones we've done so far in terms of like, where is that mastery going to come from? And if you learn that primary fire, you're going to be, well off.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm excited for people to get in this hero. The limitations of this hero are endless of what you're going to be able to do. So.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what people do with it. Even like with every single new hero that we've, released, people immediately have some crazy tech with it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing like Wuyang's jumping from the rooftops or doing some crazy things with that. So very, very exciting stuff. I think we have the poll perhaps maybe already running, and if not, then maybe
perk time.
Is it perks?
Perks?
Perks.
Perks, perhaps.
Are they gonna play Aaron Keller?
Perks? Yeah, perks. Perks.
You'll never live that down.
I don't think it's something for him to live down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's very proud of it.
But yeah, the second big thing that we're going to be talking about today is perks, everything that's coming to Season 18.
Yeah, so in Season 18, there's around 60 new perks, with some getting significant changes as well. Every single hero gets a new perk in Season 18. It's we wanted to come into Season 18 and really look back at the original release of perks and some of our original goals and lean into those further. So, covering up some weaknesses, making sure your hero can be played in more situations more frequently, whether it be compositions you're facing or maps you're playing on. And then just looking at how players have responded to perks overall so far, whether it be like which perks they're not picking or which perks aren't really making a bunch of impact. I mean, there was a lot of passive perks we had maybe in the base set, in the original set, stuff like Sojourn getting ammo or Malga getting 2 hearts where you could get just more passive healing. But, Scott and the team did a great job of coming through and really like looking at the whole set and adding a bunch of new ones. You want to talk more about some of the, what we're going into Season 18, some of the philosophies?
Yeah, I think in general we really wanted to keep minor perks as something that is additive to your kit. You're going to use it, you're going to feel the effects of it, and it's going to somewhat change the way you play with an ability. And then majors are trying to be more transformative. We want this to be something that you're going to really think about. Maybe it changes your play style. Maybe in a certain situation in a match you'll pick this, and this will move you forward. And that was another big thing that we really wanted. We wanted perks to not be something that you're like, always, I just pick these perks on this hero. I want there to be more of a choice based on the setup of the way the match is going. An offensive option, a defensive option, a utility option, all these kind of things that allow the decision of perks each match to be more interesting.
Yeah. How do you kind of decide which ones to update, which ones to rework, which ones to completely change?
I think in general, we have a lot of stats on the perks that are being picked, how much you guys are picking perks, how much the win rate is being affected by how these perks are being selected. Obviously important data, but also just listening to the community. You know, you're seeing what players are saying, like, hey, this perk can be really strong, but people don't like playing it, you know, or people don't like playing against it. There's a lot of, you know, grading aspects to some of these perks as well. So what did people enjoy? What do people like? And then try and find ways to apply that to a lot of the other heroes who didn't potentially have that.
And then sort of our own thinking of like how much impact perks could have, and we think in Season 18 they can have actually more impact than they've had previously. So you'll see some things that we might not have done in the base set just because maybe we're being a little conservative and wanted to end up in a landing zone that didn't like totally warp Overwatch gameplay. That was something that was very precious to us, right? But we think there's a little bit more impact so we can push the boundaries of perks a little bit further in Season 18.
Totally. Well, we're talking about perks, so let's start talking about perks. Let's start, how about with Venture's Deep Burrow?
Oh, so yeah, we had Venture. Venture got 2 new perks in this perks refresh. We have Deep Burrow, which is a minor perk that you're going to see coming out. So this is getting rid of Seismic Sense, the one that allowed you to see through enemies while you're underground. This is going to increase your drill dash distance 50% longer.
Pretty big.
While underground. So this is, you know, obviously your cooldown goes down faster while you're underground. This is incentivizing you to do this more, get the distance. This allows you to get in faster, allows you to get out faster, opens a lot of options, and, you know, sort of plays into that philosophy of, we want this minor perk to be something you'll think about, and it'll change potentially the way you play a little bit with this ability. We also almost too far.
That's a little too far.
A little too far. We also actually have a major perk coming in for Venture as well. Venture was actually one of the few heroes in the game that had a free button. Venture doesn't have an E ability, so we were like, okay, for this major perk refresh, what do we want to give Venture, see what they're going to do? So we actually got rid of the Smart Art Excavator, the one that just gave 25% range, and we actually made it an active ability. So now when you press this button, it is going to increase the range of your projectile by 100% for 4 seconds. So this is going to give you more options to be able to shoot enemies from distance when you're sort of stuck in that sort of limbo area for Venture. But something else that this perk does that's really useful, it's going to trigger Venture's passive. So it's going to allow you to extend the duration of your shields, give you a little bit more shields. It's also going to reload your ammo. So there's a lot of different situations that you'd want to press this button outside of just, I want this extra range.
Yeah, we can go ahead and like show it now. If you, Katie, if you come back above ground and press the E, and you'll really get this like nice animation, and then you have this window of time where your bullets actually go pretty far.
Really far, yeah. So it goes pretty far, and this is really nice to be able to sort of like.
We can kind of
you can potentially say, if you stay there, Katie, it might reach.
Like.
Yeah, it'll definitely go this far. So you can keep stepping back, and you can start to see the range that you're going to be able to get on Venture.
That's a long range.
Yeah. So it's giving you that little bit of extra oomph when you need it, if you want this.
And we were like making this more of like a window of time thing. I think it's actually just like it cuts through a lot more. It's something you're thinking about, and it also allows us to do stuff like, you know, refill your ammo, trigger the passive again. So it feels pretty nice. Oh wow.
That's really far.
Oh no, what have we done?
How far does it go, Scott?
And I guess it does have a 12-second cooldown.
40 meters.
Goodness me.
It's around 30 something.
Yeah.
Okay. Not 40.
Not 40. It won't go that.
That would be a little too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other heroes that you have like?
I mean, there's plenty. Are we running some competitions with
Do we have some polls or anything like that
I think
going?
we are waiting for the results. So
Okay.
let's just pick another one.
Let me just throw some things in there.
Do Wrecking Ball? Is
Let's
Wrecking
talk-
Ball in the poll?
I'm not certain.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just do Wrecking Ball because I think you really like this one.
I do like this perk. This is an interesting perk that's coming in for Wrecking Ball. So we realized that with the adaptive shield, people didn't like the transfer efficiency. They weren't going around. They weren't getting the value out of that transfer, even if it was, you know, highly valuable. So what we decided to do is go for more of a personal adaptation to the major perk. So now for the major perk, it's going to be an adaptive barrier. And this is creating kind of like a parry mechanic for Wrecking Ball against CC, against all these kind of options. So now when Wrecking Ball is going to hit his E ability, it's going to create a barrier around Wrecking Ball for 1.5 seconds. So this is an intentionally short barrier that has about 150 health. So it's an intentionally short barrier that's going to be, when I press this button, I'm going to be able to avoid some of the things that are coming your way. Because as a Wrecking Ball, you're trying to go in at the perfect moment, find your opportunities, go in, and this is giving you a little bit more control over what you do.
So like if I'm Ana and I try to sleep him, then what happens?
If they press it at the right time, you're going to be able to block.
What about like a Reinhardt Shatter?
If he hits you with the sweet spot, it'll shatter through it and it will do the damage, so it will, but he will block the CC.
He'll block the shockwave if he has this up.
Block the stun, and that's it. So that's kind of what you're doing. You're blocking that CC, you're blocking that stun. It works very similarly in the way that the Doomfist's power matrix works. It's that parry mechanic of like, these characters are very susceptible to CC, so giving them an option as a major perk to be able to sort of deal with that if used in the right time. You know, this is only a 1.5 second barrier for a 15-second cooldown.
That's right. Okay, cool. How do you kind of, for Wrecking Ball specifically, what was the, I guess, the gameplay fantasy that you wanted to hit?
I just really want Wrecking Ball players to be able to, in situations where it's like, hey, you know, make the decision in the game. Hey, they're playing an Ana, they're playing a Lucio, they're pushing me around, they're doing all these things to stop me. In these situations, I'm going to want to pick this major perk to be able to have a more defensive setup, and maybe I want to pick this over the other one, which is the stronger pile driver. So what it's going to do in situations where I'm not doing that as much and I don't need that perk, I'm going to go this way. So it's trying to add more texture to the decisions being made mid-match.
And it's pretty skillful too. Only 1.5 seconds. It's not like you just press E and you're immediately immune to CC for a long window of time. So you really, I think good Wrecking Ball players are going to have to like time this correctly.
Yeah. By the way, Wuyang trial in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's crazy. All right, let's go to the next hero. Actually, we got the results from one of the polls.
What was the first matchup?
Echo partial scan. I don't know the matchup. I just know the results.
Okay. Echo won. Okay.
Yeah, Echo partial scan. Let's talk about
so
it.
for Echo, we wanted to actually give more choice on your minor perks, so both of them are not affecting the ult any longer. And then we want to up some of the majors as well. So I think the ones you put in here are pretty beefy, Scott.
Yeah. So we have 2 new minors coming in. So one of them is affecting it. So partial scan is now, when you select this minor perk and you duplicate into an enemy, you're going to start with 50% of your ultimate charge. This is super useful when you're duplicating heroes that it can sometimes be difficult to fill up that meter quickly in a situation in which you need. So it's like, hey, you're going to have more options. I'm almost guaranteed to get to my ultimate when I pick this minor perk. There's also another option. I guess we can show you. Just see it here. So when you press it, boom, 50% ult charge. So now this is going to give you the option to be able to Malga cage the Malga faster in these kind of situations.
Yeah, I mean, like, who are you targeting with that? Like, is like a Lucio or a tank? Or what,
I would say, like, you know, I want to get a Graviton Surge on the Zarya, but I duplicate the Zarya, I use my bubbles, I don't get as much energy. I'm not going to get to that 100% ult charge, especially not before I get knocked out of duplicate. So just sort of giving you a little bit more opportunity. So when I'm using this ultimate, I'm going to be able to do the thing more likely.
And then the majors here are a little bit different as well, right?
Well, we changed, so we kept high beams the way it is. We have another minor perk, but full salvo, we're actually removing the damage reduction on each individual shot, because we found that the 50% projectile is super valuable, but it's still difficult to hit, that the damage reduction penalty just didn't seem effective. You know, we think that it should probably stay the way it is, as just you have 50% more shots. So we're taking that penalty out. And we can actually see the other minor, if you can as well, Katie, if you can switch heroes and then go back. We have another minor perk. We wanted to play more into Echo's focusing beam, being able to be a tool to sort of rush down enemies, because sometimes you can sort of get stuck in that limbo where, like, you're chasing someone down, but then they run away from you, so you can't get that. So we've actually made it so that the beam range is increased by 4 meters, and you have a small amount of movement speed while that is active. So this allows you to, when you're using this setup, you're actually going to be able to close the distance. You're going to run people down and execute people like you're trying to.
Yeah, you can really see this like in detail, Katie, when you like go. If you look at the range, sort of just like on the bot that has the 10 meters, 20 meters to your left here, you kind of see like the range extension on this now. Goes quite far.
It goes quite far. So it goes 20 meters now.
It goes 20 meters, yeah.
Yeah, so it goes 20 meters now. So that, you know, it doesn't feel like a lot with 4 meters, but it's actually a big distance, and it really does help you get those situations. It also opens this door when we're making perks. We try to avoid situations where there's too much synergy between minor and major perks. This is actually one of those ones which we've actually accepted, because this minor perk works very well with high booms, the major perk, where when you get an elimination, you reset your flight cooldown. So now you're going to be able to be a lot more mobile as an Echo if you pick these 2 perks.
Yeah, and that little speed increase, when it's combined with flight, like you actually do get to like really chase people down.
Yeah, you're just like a hunter, just flying all over. That's nice. Did her major abilities or major perks change at all?
It was just that full salvo one. It's just going to be removing the the damage reduction. It's just getting that 50% more projectiles.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think we're still waiting for some poll results. Ram versus Ashe. So
Oh, who should they vote for?
What was it? Who was it? Someone versus Ash?
It was
Ramatra versus Ashe.
Wow.
Ashe.
Okay.
Oh, those are both interesting ones. They both got new minor perks. That's what I will say. Let's just go to Ashe.
we have the results. Actually.
We have the
Sorry,
results, okay.
Scott. Ramatra, Relentless Form.
Relentless
Okay.
form.
All
Right.
So this is an interesting one because so Ramatra, when he enters Nemesis form, he has a set duration which he can stay in. The way we have it is that now, while you get eliminations within Relentless form, it'll extend the duration of Nemesis form by only 1 second while you're in the base version, and by half a second when you're in Annihilation, because it works on both forms. So this means that if you're doing the thing, if you're switching your forms, you're running down people, you're getting eliminations, then you're going to be rewarded, and you're going to be able to keep extending that. We know that there is, some concerns over like, hey, this feels like he's going to be in there forever. But honestly, we found throughout our test that it doesn't actually happen that much. You're getting that extension, but you're not running down 11 bots in a row usually.
Yeah.
And it's just that nice little extra bit that you're getting to be able to sort of help you out in certain situations.
Pause. Sorry. Aqua is available now to play.
Yo,
Wuyang, sorry.
Don't leave us.
Don't leave us just yet. We're still talking about really good stuff, but just as a heads up, his Hero Trials live now. So download the build.
Definitely play him.
Yeah, definitely go check
Play
it
him.
out.
He's so much fun, but don't leave. We're still talking about really good stuff.
So one of the things here, why we added this is a new minor perk. The other perk that was extending the shield.
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't very interesting for players. They weren't really picking it very much. I don't think it was like situationally actually helping them either. This one, as Scott said, like it's really nice because it's for some of us like mobility too.
Yeah.
Like you can get a kill and then it gives you a little bit more time to like get into a better, safer position, things like that.
Yeah.
It can be quite nice.
Yeah. It's also just like a really nice, like simple option because it can be used as a defensive setup. It can be used for offensive. It does so many different things, and it's just nice to get that feedback of that extension when that does happen.
Yeah, and so remember, this works not just when you're ulting. It also works when you just do your normal Nemesis form. So you just press Shift here, Katie. You'll see the same thing. You do Shift, yeah. So it is going to be a second though when you're in your regular base Nemesis form rather than being in the ultimate, right? So.
Gotcha. I think we're still waiting for some more polls. So how about you guys choose what we talk about?
Well, we
this
didn't
time?
talk about Aqua's perks.
Oh yeah.
So-
maybe
Oh, yeah, we can talk
real
about
quick.
Aqua's
Yeah,
perks.
that's
Yeah,
a good
but
shout.
Wuyang, oh my God, we're all saying Aqua now.
Sorry. Wuyang, I'm sorry. Aqua, Wuyang, same guy.
Yeah, so there's a few here that we talked about one of them earlier. It actually became balance on the right here. So this is the one that we actually explored as sort of like being in the base kit. But it's when you have your rain on someone, if you deal damage with your water orb, it gives your healing a little bit more juice for a small period of time. Those are the rocket bots, right?
Yeah, the rocket bots are destroying these poor bots. But yeah, this is a really fun one because it's like, so it increases your passive healing by 40%. So whoever you have the water ring on, it'll increase that by 40%. So it's incentivizing you to put it on someone, be able to get that healing, and then when you're hitting enemies, you're getting rewarded for that. And it feels good to be able to sort of increase that damage, so it's like you're getting even more than just doing
And you can actually see the ring kind of like glow when you do it, right? It actually enters this like empowered state.
Yeah.
So like on that ally in particular. Yeah.
So what about his other minor perks?
Yeah, I mean, we'll just go through we'll go to the next major here actually.
Yeah.
So we'll pick his major. Let's start with ebb and flow here on the left. So this is going to take your guardian wave, and after it goes its full distance, it's actually going to come back. So it's something I think I take this one a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So you just press the E, and then it will return to you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's good against like enemies sometimes to get like some of that damage and some of the more knockback, but it's also great because you can kind of like, if you don't hit everyone with your the heal amp at first, you can kind of get them on the way back, but also it sort of refreshes that heal amp as well,
Yeah.
and sort of the time of it.
For the enemy knockback for that one, do they get knocked that way and then they get knocked this
Yeah,
way?
they'll get knocked which the direction of the wave is traveling.
Gotcha. And when it hits allies, is it like one boost and then another boost, or is it like a single one?
It will just refresh the boost time.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, this is just like a really, it's very easy to use major perk, but it's interesting how you can use it so many different ways in a fight. Being able to knock people back and forth is interesting. You can see it does healing on the way back as well. Yep. So it's like you can get double the value of your healing wave, but it's difficult to time because it does take a while to go all the way back out and then come back.
Oh, that actually poses a question. So does the wave in its normal form, does it go through walls?
No. It does not go through walls.
Okay.
The wall will stop it.
It does go over and down terrain, as you would expect, kind of like a Reinhardt Earth Shadow. It
Right.
does somewhat similar, I think, with a little bit more forgiveness. So there is ways for it to climb up and down things, but it's not going to climb up.
You can cast it from like fairly short, fairly short high ground. Like,
Yeah.
you can cast it from like a few meters up, and it will actually travel down and up things. So it has a little flexibility there.
Does it go through shields?
No.
No.
Okay, got
Blocked
it.
by shields as well.
Okay.
We can actually go to the other minor major perk now. We'll just switch characters and show you both those. I think both of these are actually quite nice as well.
I think the other major one is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a fun.
So Wuyang's other minor is actually going to just help you get your resource back. So what it's going to do here, Overflow, when you use Rushing Torrent, you're going to gain ammo and get more resource on your restorative stream. So sometimes, like when you're using restorative stream, you can kind of run out kind of quickly. Scott says it actually doesn't come back very fast too. So you just use the right click here, Katie, on one of the bots, and then you'll press Shift, and then boom, get some resource back, and you also get ammo as well. So it's quite nice.
This is one of the minor perks where it's like it's not as transformative, but it's very useful to have. And like if you're looking for a setup of like, hey, I'm running out of resource, like my tank is just taking too much damage, I'm not able to cut through, I'm not able to hit my primary fire as much as I would like. This is a nice simple perk for you to be able to choose to be able to be sure that you're going to get value with it.
Totally.
And we can go to the other major. This one's it's Falling Rain, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Falling Rain.
So this takes your primary fire, and now there's 3 little small
there's
primary
3 of 'em.
fires. It's like a little shotgun at that point, right?
Yeah.
So it chunks. They all do a little bit less damage, obviously, than the normal primary fire, but it can chunk pretty well.
Yeah.
Scott, where do you think you're taking this in particular, though?
I think this is as a shotgun is like, hey, I'm hitting a lot of damage. I'm playing against a Roadhog who's not blocking a lot of my damage. I'm going to be able to pump more damage. I believe where we ended up with this is each individual one does 40% of a regular one. So you can do up to 120% damage of your regular water orb. So in situations where you're going to be able to be consistently hitting it, it's super valuable. It's actually interesting as well. It works with the minor where when you hit one of your orbs, it increases your passive. If you just hit one of these 3 orbs, it'll increase the passive as well. So it's giving you more options, it's creating a wider area, but it's being more consistent to at least do some damage as
Gotcha.
well.
Does it increase your passive by like 3 times their normal one, or is it
it's
just like
it's either active or not.
Gotcha.
Active, the
Okay.
40%,
Cool.
yeah.
I gotta say, being a non-very mobile support at the very back, hearing and seeing 3 orbs go towards you is quite scary. Okay, so sorry.
The first time you see it, you're like, what is that? And then it comes your way, and you're like, oh no.
It's like, well, I'm done. I guess I'm done.
This is one of those ones where it's we actually talked about this one a lot in terms of if we were going to do it, because a lot of times when we release a hero, we want their perks to be a little bit wider because we want players to get really used to that hero and used to sort of the things they're putting in the battlefield. But we just thought this one was really cool.
Yeah, it is very
So
cool.
it goes.
Yeah. Oh, we have the results for another poll.
Okay.
Anna Speed Serum.
Oh, yes. So Ana is a controversial one. Ana was the only hero who had a major perk, which was an ultimate, which was the double nano. And one of the things that we wanted to address when we came into season 18 is like, hey, we think that this can be a little out of bounds with like how much value and how much it swings. So we're like, okay, let's try and move the ultimate perk to a minor and see what we could do to it. So what we actually did is we brought Ana's speed boost back to the nano boost. So now when you pick this as a minor, the nano boost will provide 40% movement speed boost to the person it targets. But we also wanted to make sure that the Ana player felt like they were getting value out of this perk as well, and also able to follow the nano boost target. So they're actually also going to get the 40% movement speed when you nano boost someone. So moving away from double nano.
situations and stuff, right, still. So you're just a little faster. If you do get dove, you have a little bit there where not only do you have your normal utility with Sleep Dart and your E, but you can just run away too.
Yeah.
Or you can follow your guy in. You can follow your ally in as they have the speed boost.
Just
Offense
go-
is
just go
sometimes the best
crazy.
defense,
Yeah, absolutely.
For what it's worth as well, we've actually moved the Biotic Bounce grenade perk from a minor to a major as well. We haven't changed too much of the functionality. It does do more damage, which changes the breakpoints. That's why we've moved it to a major. All of a sudden, it does 130 damage, I believe it is, on impact. If you hit a shot and a melee, that can do up to 225 damage. So there is a lot of value in Biotic Bounce in getting this second bounce outside of just the anti-heal or the healing app.
Is there any other heroes that you want to highlight?
I want to do Moira.
I'm going to do Moira. Moira probably got the most changes. I think everything changed.
I think everything changed on Moira.
At least moved around. But yeah, she has some ones that I think are big highlights for us.
Yeah, so in season 15, we were like, it'd be cool if the minors and the majors, they were like opposites of each other. So one gave you duration, the other one gave you jump. So you were changing something, but you were making your choice. What we found is that it just wasn't that interesting. Moira's perks never really sort of cut through what we wanted them to do with perks. So we wanted to make a lot of changes to Moira. So if you just highlight these perks right now, Katie, I'll go over the minor ones real quick. So the first one is Destruction's Divide. This is actually a stadium talent for Moira stadium players. So when you're using Coalescence, you can toggle between left click and right click, and you can go pure damage or pure healing, and that does 25% more of what it would do in the base, but you're not doing both at the same time. And you can also go back to what it is by default. So if you let go of both of your things, you're just going back to the way normal Transcendence works. Coalescence works. So this is just giving you a lot more freedom to be able to sort of choose what you want to do within Coalescence. So that's a really fun one. You can go to pick a major perk now as well. We'll go through a minor and a major. So we're going to go to Phantom Step first. So we actually merged the 2 minors into a major. So now the Fade is turbocharged when you're going to do it. You can jump around with this one, Katie, and you'll see you can go really far, you can go really high. So when you put these 2 together, there's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
We also added some nice functionality where you can actually cancel it. Because this being stuck in Fade for an extra half a second can sometimes be a detriment. We've now made it that once you've pressed it, you can press it again and it will cancel at the time.
How high is the jump? Is it like Sojourn level slide?
Oh, it's higher than Sojourn at this
definitely
point.
get really high.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the number is just off the top of my head, but yeah, it's higher than Sojourn Fade, and when you pair that with the speed, you can go a lot of places. So that's a lot of fun. And if you want to reset this one, Katie, we'll go through the other 2 minors and majors. So for the other minor, we actually moved Nourishment, I believe it's called. The major perk that heals based on the healing orb, that is now moved to a minor, and the amount of healing has been reduced. So when the healing biotic orb heals someone for the first time, it now does 30 upfront healing, which is really nice to use. You can see it still functions the same way. Then we have a major perk, and this is one of my favorite perks because it's very fun to use. So when you have a biotic orb out there, you can press E again, and it will return the exact same path that it came. So if you throw it and you throw it against the wall, it's going to go, and at some point you can press E again. Well,
we'll try it again.
We'll try it again.
Yeah, let's try it again.
So if you hit E and you throw it, and then you press E again, yeah, there you go. It's going to come back.
And so if it bounces and then you bring it back,
and then it rebounds.
What sort of path does it take?
It's going to take the exact same path that it went. We found that when we first tested it, if it was coming to you, you could lose track of where your orb is, or it's bouncing in a weird direction.
Yeah, can we get like a few bounces in? Oh,
yeah,
bounce in here, Katie?
Yeah, just if you throw it off some walls and stuff like that, so it'll always come back the exact same path. So if you press E again, okay, I don't know what's going on with this one.
There's a little, you can't wait too long.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, but yeah, there you go. So it does go the exact same path and that it's going. So it's super valuable. And this allows you to get, it's not increasing the value of Biotic Orb, but it's increasing the amount of value you're going to get on average with this Biotic Orb. So now, if the Biotic Orb goes past you, you've got to worry it's coming back. Or if you're throwing it into allies, there's still some left, you can bring it back and it'll go through allies again.
I see, okay. Does it, so like when you throw it for the first time, it bounces off of walls and other things. When it goes back, does it bounce against any new obstacles that it would encounter?
Yes, it would. So it won't always. If it bounces off of something new, it'll bounce in a
so like a
different
platform
direction.
that's moving, you throw it up, and then when it goes back, it can bounce up.
Yeah, the technical of what it's doing is it's literally just changing its direction 180 degrees.
Gotcha.
So if something changes, then it'll bounce off of that as it usually does.
Gotcha. Is that like the second major?
That is the second major, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we have the last poll, the result of the last poll.
Okay.
It was, what was it? Juno versus, no, wait, sorry. Junker Queen, Rampant Charge versus Hazard Explosive Impalements. We don't have the results yet.
Oh, we don't have the results.
So this one you can rig.
Oh.
We can rig. I think the Hazard one is interesting.
I think they're both interesting.
Yeah, they're both
I
pretty
think I'd
interesting.
probably vote for...
Yeah. Okay, let's just do Junker Queen.
Junker
We'll
Queen.
do both.
We'll do that.
We'll don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Actually, Junker Queen won.
Oh,
okay,
yeah, we'll do
alright.
Junker Queen. So Junker Queen got a new minor. So this is replacing, I believe it's Rending Recall was the one that it's replacing. So it's now Rampant Charge. So you are now going to gain Unstoppable while using your ultimate. So no more sleeping and booping and all that kind of stuff. It's giving you a counter to those kind of setups. But it's also going to refresh all of your cooldowns when you use it. So generally how you use Rampage is you're getting into the fight, you're attacking, you're like, oh, this is a great lineup, I'm going to use it. So now you can use your commanding shout, and then you can use your axe, you can use your knife. Then when you use your ultimate, you're going to get your commanding shout back. You're going to get the knife. You're going to get the axe swing again. Yeah. So it's now going to be able to, if you sequence your abilities correctly, it's going to do even more.
It's one of those perks where like we wanted to give the Unstoppable as a perk kind of on its own.
Yeah.
But very quickly realized like, okay, well, we need more value. This is sort of like this like more of a like high level change. Yeah. And then the cooldown refresh, I think, is really that's where you get a ton of value for. She's very scary when she uses this.
Yeah, especially, I think the commanding shout is the thing that is like super valuable. If you commanding shout before you use it, and then you use the ultimate, and then you have commanding shout coming out again, and you're getting healing, it really feels good to be able to sort of just keep going and sort of stay in the fight. There's actually a major perk as well for
your favorite name of all the names?
Yeah, so this is Willy Willy, which is an Australian. This had to get explained to me, so I'm a fake Australian at this point. But it's kind of like a dust storm that happens in the outback, and it's called a Willy Willy. So the way it works is that when you throw the knife and you're going to recall it, now it is actually going to be bigger.
It's wider.
It's much wider, so it's easier to hit. It's going to do impact damage. So it's going to hit more enemies. It's going to do impact damage on the way back. And we found that in situations where you miss, or even if you hit someone and it goes through people, it's not cutting through. So this major perk is like, hey, now there's more value. Even if you miss, there's more value to be gained when you're pulling.
Yeah. And what it does is really just like front of mind puts in this place like, oh, I really just want to make sure when I boomerang this back, I'm hitting people.
Yeah.
Like, so you kind of like position yourself as best you can. And you were trying to do that anyway,
yeah.
But now it's really like you're going to get a lot more value for it. So it's something that you should even be more cognizant of.
100%.
Yeah. Well, that technically was the last poll, but we can do maybe one more hero that you guys want to talk about.
One last one you want to show?
You get to pick one, yeah.
May's in the trailer, so we'll have to wait on May.
Yeah.
Just one, so no, it's not to May.
Let's not to May. Let's not to
We're
May.
gonna save May. I think we should do Junkrat. I think Junkrat mains are like, hey, I think I need some upgrades in my perks. So Scott, you want to talk about the Junkrat? What do you got?
Yeah, so Junkrat, the trap perk never really hit in the way that we wanted it to. It just felt, it can be difficult to play into. So we actually wanted to go more towards perks that function with the mine, because the mine is the crux of the way that Junkrat is playing. So we're now going to make it so that killing blows with concussion mine will now restore 1 charge. So getting someone playing aggressive, getting that kill is going to give you the option. So for you aggressive Junkrat players out there who just want to go in, double conk mine in, Junkrat kill someone, you're going to have a mine to get out if you're able to successfully do that, right? So it's rewarding players for using the concussive mine in an aggressive way. And the major is actually doing something similar, but it's changing the way that you're using the concussive mine. So they might not be that good together, but they're both doing something similar. So Bon Voyage is, after launching yourself with concussion mine, Junkrat gains 35% attack speed for 3 seconds.
Goodness.
So here we wanted to promote and incentivize players to throw their mine on the ground, jump up, go in the air, and then you're going to gain 35% attack speed for those 3 seconds. So this creates this loop of like you're concussive mining yourself into the air, into a good spot, then you're spamming it in. Or if you're going to jump into enemies, you're going to have that attack speed for when you're making that jump. So really promoting that playstyle of, hey, you're not just using this for mobility, you're using this for an offensive tool. And it changes the way that you think about concussion mine as well.
Yeah, and the team actually did a whole new like attack speed read in your 1P. You can see the little arrows coming up. So we're using that as like a general read across a few of the cast.
Totally.
But I think it's just in general, with Junkrat, I think his perks at one point were kind of pointing away from the things that Junkrat players like to do. And I think that's okay to have some of that like friction where it's like, hey, try something new, try different play style. But these in particular lean more into like, this is the style of play Junkrat wants to have a lot of the time, and it's going to help enable that even more.
Yeah, I think a great example of that is TikTok, the major perk that he had, is like when it was on the ground or it was on something, it took half a second to arm. It's like, it was difficult to find situations where you wanted to do that, or the game plays so fast that you weren't able to get value out of this. So trying to play, put in perks that are more fluid and dynamic to the way that Junkrat wants to play.
Totally. So I noticed with pretty much every single, or most of the perks that we have, there are a lot of like new UI elements or VFX elements that are added that are not in like the quote-unquote normal gameplay. How is it working with like the other departments to get everything together like this?
I mean, they did a wonderful job getting, making sure that everything's like well read and there's a good read on everything, not only for you getting the correct feedback, but also on the enemy can understand like, oh, there's something different happening. Because the last thing we want to do is like people have to go into the scoreboard to understand that something's changed. It should be able to this thing that you can like naturally pick up through gameplay.
Yeah, readability of the game is something, especially in Season 15, we were really worried about. Like, what is going on in the game? And we tried to keep true to that in Season 18. I think we hit the mark on some and learned from that. And I think the VFX and the other departments, they understand this so well. They're exceptional at what they do and their ability to turn, my crazy ideas into something that looks really awesome.
And making Willy Willy actually look like a Willy Willy.
Like a Willy Willy, I guess so. I haven't seen one apparently, so.
Well, now we kind of maybe have a reference to what a Willy Willy looks like.
Exactly,
Thanks to Jumper Queen.
If anyone asks, it's just an Overwatch ability now.
Yeah, just an Overwatch ability. Well, I think that is all we can cover today. We talked about a lot of stuff.
There's plenty of more perks coming. We're going to be showing a lot of those off in the coming weeks. It's not too long to Season 18.
I know.
Just is coming up here pretty shortly. So, but around 60 new perks. Every single hero is getting a brand new perk. So excited to share all of those with you. And there's also balance changes and a bunch of perks got changed, quality of life things as well. But Season 18 is stacked. But this weekend, what we're going to be looking at is Wuyang. We're going to be looking at all of the data and all the sentiments and just make sure you give your feedback, and I hope you all just enjoy all your time with him.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited to see people get their hands on him. I'm probably going to go run around with them a little bit, use my advanced knowledge of Wuyang to win a couple of games in the trial.
If you see those guys, they battle tag online, just
don't
focus
report me.
him, just eliminate him on site. Well, I think that is the end of our live stream. Is there anything else that you guys want to?
No, I think there's just Season 18 is a culmination of a lot of work from multiple teams. The breadth of it is something we've been talking about. There's so much going into it. We just touched on some of the things today, the heroes and the perks, but there's a lot more of a lot of system changes and other things that we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks. So get excited. Go play Wuyang, the Hero Trials live.
Right now.
Give your feedback, please, because we are going to be paying really close attention.
100%. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for listening. I'm sure you guys have been paying so much attention over the last 10 minutes and not playing Wuyang, having us on the other monitor. I appreciate you guys enjoying it. Your passion for Overwatch is always phenomenal from our community. So, we're excited for Season 18 and we hope you are as well.
Yeah, well, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in and for staying for the whole thing. Wuyang Trial is live right now and will run throughout the weekend, so play him, enjoy him, let us know what you think. Season 18 launches with all the new perks on August 26th. Wuyang, Soldier Mythic that we talked about on the last stream, new perks, and a bunch of new stuff coming up. Tomorrow, we'll have a weekly recall with Scott talking about all the other perks that we didn't cover today, which, again, is a lot. Next week, our game director, Aaron Keller, will be at Gamescom talking about even more stuff in Season 18.
So little treat there, too.
Yeah,
tune into that. Yeah.
Tune in and you'll see. Tune in and you'll see. It's going to be pretty fun. And next Friday is our big Season 18 developer update that we'll talk about even more things, if that's even possible. 18 is very stacked. As a final thing, we will be doing more of these live streams in the future. We don't have a set date for the September one, but it is happening. Just by the way, it is happening. Let us know if there's anything specific that you guys will want us to cover. We love sitting down and chatting, in this way with you guys. We love hearing about what the community has to say, and we really, really, really like, this peek behind the curtain that we don't really often get to do. So yeah, let us know. Keep an eye out on our socials for any other updates that we'll have for future stream, future updates, future whatever else. Thank you guys for watching. Keep playing, and I will see you in game.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See you.